Residents of the border city have been raising questions about how our current and previous city council have been spending city funds. And as Brittany Matika reports, an independent audit was conducted and the report has been released.
Mayor Albers and City Council reviewed the findings of the 2018 forensic audit report, looking into expenses claimed dating back to 2009.
It certainly may not have answered everybody's questions, but it certainly told us that there was an opportunity to tighten up some policies and processes, and I think that's what City Council has been doing since we've been elected.
The 16-page report details expenses claimed by 45 anonymous individuals, including past and current City Council, employees, and CAOs. $1.2 million in transactions made by council and staff over the past 9 years were reviewed. The majority of transactions made failed to meet criteria set forward by the independent auditor, MNP. This accounted for almost $800,000. Mayor Albers says he believes the funds that failed to meet the auditor's criteria were still used for city business.
One or more criteria may have failed, so it may have been, like I say, simply the best example I give is as simple as signature that didn't show up on a piece of paper and it made its way through. What is it? The person that handed it in. It could have been the person that approved it to the next level, and from that perspective, but there's no doubt in my mind that they were expenses incurred on city business.
The names of the individuals reviewed will not be released due to FOIP restrictions. Albers says the current council has been pushing to have more accountability within the city.
I think that certainly we've made some changes as we go back to the expense accounts that were put into place. It's been very clearly laid out the perspective of we went to a procurement card for the city and that's being accounted that way. So I think that there's been a lot of steps taken from where it was to where we are today.
The forensic audit is available to the public on the City of Lloydminster's website. Brittany Matika, Newcap News.
Well, flooding continues to spread in western Saskatchewan after heavy rainfall over the weekend, and that resulted in a washout of major roads in the RM of Frenchman Butte, and those conditions could worsen with water flowing through the municipality and more rain expected. This video of Grid Road 797 west of St. Walburg shows serious damage highlighted by large culverts being taken downstream.
The road is blocked off and closed, and so people will have to detour to get in and out of St. Walburg. We're not talking about a culvert that's only a foot high, right? These are major culverts that the flow of the water literally took out.
The municipality has already requested to be designated under the Provincial Disaster Assistance Program, and ratepayers can also access funds under that same program.
If a ratepayer has had damage as a result of the excessive rain, we ask that they contact the municipal office.
Mills Midgley adds everyone driving through the municipality is to obey road closure signage and to call the RM office with any information of any further damage. Well, a Lloydminster woman is back from a trip to Ottawa where she testified for Indigenous issues in front of the Senate. Ray Ann Harper is one of 9 First Nations representatives chosen to address the Senate, bringing attention to issues facing Indigenous people in our country.
The government had promised on a new nation-to-nation relationship between Indigenous people kind of in the government, and so we were chosen to give our perspectives on what we think that is.
And still at just 23 years old, Harper continues to focus on creating a better community for Indigenous people in urban areas. She says much of the funding for Indigenous communities goes to reserves, and that leaves urban people with fewer resources.
I talked to them about the need for urban Indigenous people to be included in the nation-to-nation relationship, because often that's forgotten. It's usually First Nations, Métis, and Inuit, and First Nations being on reserve residents, and the urban population isn't usually included in that.
And that inclusion is something she knows firsthand is essential to our community.
It's a thing that helped me with my success, and I'm hoping that it helps other youth with their success, considering that Indigenous youth are one of the most vulnerable sectors.
All right, well, we have a pair of different cats to tell you about in this week's pet project. Georgie is a quiet and cuddly young girl, and Kalua is looking for someone to keep up. Here's John from the SPCA.
This quiet little lady is Georgie. Although she's only 10 months old, she isn't like most cats her age. Georgie is perfectly content to just sit quietly on her scratching post and nap away the day. Georgie still enjoys lots of love, but she won't try and get your attention by meowing loudly or running around the house. Instead, when she wants pets, she'll gently tap you on the shoulder and then slowly curl her way into your arms. Georgie is such a sweet girl that will warm your heart the minute you meet her and fill your life with so much love for many years. Be sure to visit the SPCA and meet this wonderful lady today. Like the beverage, Kahlua can add a little kick to your life. This spry young cat just loves to play. Her energy seems endless. She loves to run and pounce, especially when you least expect it. Whether it's a toy mouse or a laser pointer, Kahlua can keep herself and you entertained for hours. At 11 months old, Kahlua is very much a young kitten at heart. If you're looking for an energetic cat that will keep you on your toes and always bring a smile to your face, then you just have to meet Kahlua. Stop by the SPCA and meet her today.
This is Newcap Sports.
9 straight wins. That's where the Lloydminster Extreme were at entering play on Sunday. Coming off a monumental win over the Lakeland Heat last week, the Extreme were riding high, but Sunday presented another task, the Sherwood Park Titans, one of 2 teams to beat Lloydminster this season. Lance Phillips has more.
If the Extreme learned anything from last Wednesday's win over the Lakeland Heat, it's they're never out of games. And that mentality was in play again Sunday during a 13-11 win over Sherwood Park. A game that, according to head coach Graham Murray, was tough to watch until the third period when it all changed.
We finally started to help on defense. A lot of times we were getting lost and nobody was helping. Guys were wide open the first 2 periods. It didn't work well for us all day. We didn't have a great defensively day, but it really pulled through, and the offense really took care of us there.
The Extreme trailed throughout the game at one point by 4 goals. It wasn't until the 12:34 mark of the third when Lloydminster scored its first of 5 straight, holding Sherwood Park to 1 goal over the final 17 minutes. Another display of what the Extreme are capable of in times of adversity.
We just kept a positive mindset out there. We're communicating, and even though there was kind of bad penalties and stuff, we just kept positive.
I would say just, doing the things that we practice all the time, cutting through the middle, and it just opens up everybody, right? And, we finally started hitting the nets, picking corners, and, we got some lethal shooters on our team, and when they can find the net, it's definitely beneficial for us.
They're moving well, they're setting their picks, they're rolling nicely, everything's working out, everybody's making their passes, catching the ball, and making their shots.
Lloydminster's 10th straight win moves the team to 12-2 on the season, creating what can only be described as an inspired locker room.
Everybody's amped up. We're all ready to go. We love the win. We love winning. Nobody likes losing. So every time we get another one, it just boosts us up that much more.
We just feel electrified. Like there's no feeling like it.
The guys are definitely jacked up. We're on a good heater right now. Guys are happy, and when success definitely brings happiness.
Their last 2 wins have been the Extreme's most compelling, and it's making a statement Lloydminster hasn't made in a long time.
It sets us up pretty nicely to show that we're not here to just screw around. We're here to win. We're here to take it.
I think last week's made a bigger statement, but definitely back to back against them, and then we got Cold Lake again on Wednesday to beat them again. So there's no more days off in our season, that's for sure.
Lance Phillips, Newcap Sports, Vermilion.